It's the Marc Clarke Morning Show. Healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Preparing students to demonstrate mastery of math state standards can feel like a dull, unending cycle of equations and practice problems. Unengaged, frustrated students can weigh on teacher confidence and lead to uncertainty about overall achievement. Two Ivy League-trained engineers observed this struggle and created a way to transform how students learn the fundamentals of math. Through the innovative Accoletics math program, EDA has helped more than 400,000 students achieve success on state-administered math tests and transformed the academic strategies and performance of schools nationwide. Accoletics' uniquely designed supplemental materials and tools are well aligned to your state standards and provide a clear path to exceed state proficiency standards. Through ongoing professional development, you will uncover common challenges and activate solutions that promise to improve student achievement in your school. By partnering with EDA and choosing Accoletics, you can start to see an unprecedented return on your investment in as little as one school year. Don't procrastinate on giving your teachers the tools to help students achieve their highest math potential. To learn how you can dramatically improve classroom instruction and learning, test scores, and student confidence, call, email, or visit Accoletics online today.
And welcome to the Marc Clarke Show and all of my partners. I don't say sponsors, I say partners. And my partner today, joining me today, the Wayne Bruce is in the building.
What's going on? Wayne? What's going on, Marc Clarke?
I'm
How
good,
are you,
man.
brother?
I'm trying. You know what, Wayne? If y'all don't know, Wayne is also a producer. So Wayne is looking at me like, Mark, why do you have a hole in your head right now? Let me turn the light down. I know, Wayne.
Got the light on, man. You got to get the light in your face.
I saw your face when I saw the judgment. I saw the judgment, Wayne. I saw it.
No judgment.
It's too late now. It's too late, Wayne.
I was gonna call you producer.
Right.
Oh, that could be you. No,
that's right. That's right. So shout out. I see Shannon's in the building, Jarrell in the building, Shanice. What's going on, love? Tiffany. So yeah, Wayne, too much light. Is that what's going on?
No. You just got to get it behind you on your screen.
Thank you.
You're green.
Look at him. Look at him, y'all. Look at the master.
Right.
Oh, well.
Right there. You just stay no, back up. Right there. No, come back. Don't. We'll get to that later, man.
So welcome. I'm just happy to be here.
to be here.
Oh, wait a minute. Bootsy Vegas, ladies and gentlemen, says entered the building.
There he is.
I've got the Titans on today. Now, guys.
No, hold on. You had the Commanders on.
Is that the name?
Yes, you had the Commanders. Yeah.
All right. Are y'all feeling the name? No?
Damn, Wayne.
Damn, Wayne.
Tell us how you feel, Wayne.
No.
What? They could have been the Red something. They could have been the Red Wolves. They could have been the Red Hawks.
That name was already taken. What happened was
Red Wolves?
The Red Wolves, a guy went and copyrighted it all and would not sell it back to them.
Right.
He wanted an astronomical number. So what happened was they were hoping that they were going to be able to get the. I don't know what number he was asking for. So that's what it was.
I give it to him. You know that you're gonna make it back.
It's too late now.
Too late.
Good morning. Good morning, Joan. Good morning, Quincy.
Booze. It's too late, baby. It's too late now. He said,
dog,
too late now.
Commanders, though, bro.
Good morning.
The Commanders, though.
Do you like it or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Oh, damn. Thumbs down.
Hold on. Allison Seymour had the best name. I don't know if you heard what her name was.
What was it?
She went on, your wife, Mark, went on Channel 9 and said she thought the name should be the Little Rascals.
Right.
And she meant it.
Like Spanky Alfalfa is running that joint.
You know what I mean? Buckwheat is running it. You know what I mean?
So let me just say this, and a shout out to everybody who's watching this now or watching this later. I'm going to apologize because this is this is going to be a discussion on music. Guys, we're going in. It's probably going to be at the nerd level. So if you don't love music, if you don't love history, if you don't love opinions,
nerd level,
then you know I'm talking about. We're going down. I'm telling you, it's funny because I'm so curious about you guys because I got a couple surprises. I've got a couple things, but also again, this conversation it's going to be nerd level. Sadly,
Black History Month.
I call Wayne. Wayne knows I will call him on some random questions, and the part that's so funny is. This will turn into a 30-minute discussion every time. Wayne has never been like, I don't know, Mark. Wayne always adds something to it. And Bootsy is the same way. I'll be like, so tell me about blah, blah, blah. And Bootsy, so it's interesting. So to have you two guys on with this conversation that no regular platform would have, I thank you. Okay. So Quincy said I can't comment. It's not my team. Okay, that's okay, Quincy. I'm not gonna say it's not my team either. I'll just say that much. I'll say that much too. Okay, so Commanders. Now, Wayne, Wayne, don't be mad at this because this is hilarious. So, Bootsy, did you ever get a chance to see me and Wayne on YouTube break down the Silk Sonic?
No, I wish I would have saw it.
Let me just say, this is the most watched video on my Reinventing Mark channel. Just a snippet. When me and Wayne just hopped on, we said, hey, we were talking on the phone. Man, let's go ahead and hop on. So we hopped on. Let me get Wayne on the phone now because kids are talking about it. Here we go, Wayne. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak.
Man.
All right, leave the door open. Man.
Man.
So it's funny because, all right, first of all, Wayne, you're a little younger, but from that generation.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm at the end of that generation.
We're at the very end.
Very end of that generation.
But musician,
we saw it.
But we saw it. That's what I'm saying.
We saw it. And
musician-wise, we still benefited from it because we basically came from a generation where you understood what came before you. That was a part of it.
That laid the groundwork for it. I think
that's the link that the Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak have is that. So that kind of started our conversation. As you can see, I don't know who that man was talking to Wayne.
Man, I don't know who that man was talking to Mark. I got to get him back. I got to go find him. It's a treadmill and a Peloton with my name on it.
Little Wayne and Big Mark. And so, but yeah, Anderson .Paak, Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars, they've done an amazing job of reminding us of the greatness of previous generations, right? So, to set the table, this is what I want to do. As I'm saying, y'all, for those who are checking in, I'm sorry, this is going to be kind of nerdy, but I also welcome you guys to comment on in the comments. I'll be popping them up like this, like Shannon just did, because I know you guys have the same thing going on. Okay, so you ready? And in fact, so much so, if you want to hop in on the conversation, just let me know. And I'll put the invite. You can hop in on the conversation, but that'll be later on, right? Because we're going to be talking forever. So here we go. This is how I'm going to start it, guys, to give you the example. Then I want you guys to do the same. So the first thing I call this the pedigree. All right. The pedigree. This is your life story, kinda, and your connection to music. All right. So I'm born in Detroit, raised in Springfield, which is a teacher's place. And now, for those who don't know, I played saxophone growing up. I was a kid, 3rd grade. You get an opportunity to play an instrument. My family, my uncle Inman was a bass player. My uncle Charles was a sax player. My mother, my grandfather, Inman E. Foster. Talk about it. That's a great old black name, ain't it? Inman E. Foster. He was a printer. Inman E. Foster. He also sponsored the Drum and Bugle Corps. So he had the black newspaper in Springfield, the Springfield Chronicle, sponsored the Drum and Bugle Corps. My mother taught the how to spin the thing, whatever. And so music is a big part of our family. That's the background, right? And so I pick up the saxophone, and again, it's small town America, and we get home. And we hear a knocking on the door. The guy's like, "I'm sorry, Miss Johnson. The sax I sold you is more expensive than I sold it for. And so it's going to cost a few more dollars." And so my mom looks at me and says, "All right, if you're serious about this, I'll get it." I said, "Yes, ma'am." And so the rest is history. From 3rd grade on through college, I played in bands and stuff. And so I say it's a teacher's town because my high school had a performing arts club. We had a jazz band. Mr. Garrison, who was, anytime you have your music instructors kind of shape who you are, to be honest. And I see what happens. If you have a corny music instructor, a lot of times those kids don't really get into music for real. Mr. Garrison was not the guy. He was the cool instructor. He had a big band on Sunday nights that if you were good enough, he'd invite you to play with the big band. So you actually got a chance to play with the big bands. He took us to see Maynard Ferguson. He took us to see Count Basie, where my teacher told me that Count Basie was dead. I mean, he told me Count Basie was dead. I was like, no, he's not. I saw him Thursday night. My teacher was mad at me for the rest of my career. Is that funny? Not him, but it was a history teacher. Anyway, Mr. Garrison turned me on to Maynard Ferguson and all those high notes, Wayne. You know about that. Yeah. We played. I
do too. I know about the high notes too.
So we played with Kenny Barron, and then I went on in junior college. I played in jazz band with Mr. Haas. Mr. Haas, you can tell me if you agree or disagree. And it's so funny anytime I listen to Count Basie, he says when you listen to Count Basie, the drums set up the horns. And the drums play, and so Wayne, you're nodding your head. This is also when I realized, Wayne and Bootsy, I made a mistake because my crew of friends were beasts. I mean, sight reading, all staters, and I wasn't. I didn't realize how valuable my ear was, and so I'm playing. He always had me play solos. Now, sadly. The blues scale, I'm killing the blues scale, but you start doing something else, I have no idea what's going on. And and unlike my friends, I wasn't studying my scales like I should have. So I didn't know it's an E flat, a C. So I don't know nothing about that. But what I didn't realize, now I do, is that I was pretty good because he asked about me my whole life, and they don't ask about people they don't think are good, right, Wayne, Bootsy? So
that's a fact. And also, I think the great lesson was that you can convey is you do have to learn how to listen to the music even before you read it necessarily. I think one of the most valuable things that changed my life on all music, this was the single reason why I do music. My aunt was a choir director in Georgetown, in the oldest church in black church in DC. It was called First Baptist of Georgetown. Her name was Beulah Lex. She had got me in front of the piano and she was teaching me scales. So she would play it. And she would go, you do the note. You do the note. And she was teaching me scales. So before I ever learned how to read it, I learned how to hear it. And I think that is one of the most valuable things that any music person could really learn, is if you learn how to hear it and then convey it. Yeah. To me, once you learn how to feel it and hear it, you can figure everything else out, in my opinion, Bruce.
No, you can until you get into some deep jazz, and you'd be like, what the hell just happened? But anyway, so Mr. Garrison, big band, okay, all these things, okay, how to swing.
Only did notes.
How to swing, how that's important.
Yes, hold on. But let me tell you why it's important. Because
Hold on,
go-go was-
Bootsy. Don't
because-
interrupt me. Don't interrupt me, Bootsy, because you got to do it too. And we'll be here for 30 minutes because you know I'm long-winded. And so, how to swing, mastery of your instrument.
Okay.
Also, you know, when you're around those certain musicians, there's a certain level of, you know, a level of expectation. Like you can't just be whack, and you'll get called on it when you're playing when you have the right instructors. They don't accept mediocrity. So when you get called to do something, you have earned that right, and it gives you a certain feeling about it, right? That's the generation we came up from. Okay, that's back to Springfield. My cousin I.E. Foster played in Lighter Side of Darkness. I don't know if y'all remember that. The biggest song was there's a Love with Love Jones and then Basketball Jones. That was they did the parody song. He was in that band. He passed on a scholarship to go tour with them. And sadly, you know how that ended.
the unsung episode is coming.
Springfield is home to, you'll find out. So some of the stars coming up, Santiago, who had that, what's the guitar guys with the full body one, that George Benson sound.
Gibson.
When you stand and play it together.
Gibson guitar.
Is that what's called?
Wide body guitar.
Okay,
Gibson
so he was known
those.
for that.
We're famous for those.
He was one of our famous musicians. He
Gibson.
played, of course, he went to prison, but he came out. He was a bad man. Binky Day, who was one of our thumpers, and was related to the Day family. And y'all know who's from Springfield, right?
Who's that?
Morris Day. It's from Springfield.
Oh, is he?
And so of course they came from the famous Day family that got like 25 churches between them. They're all bad. You know how that goes. I say musicians is just like athletics. There'll be a guy, when you talk about race, there'll be a guy, just like you see a white kid that had mad hops. I notice musicians, you'll find some of the coldest drummers are white guys. And one of the coldest players out of Springfield, this guy named Wayne, who grew up in our neighborhood. Wayne looked like he probably was a serial killer. You know, he had the glasses, he had the white shirt, he lived in the black neighborhood, he had no flavor, he had nothing, but he was bad on the trombone, baby. He was a beast. And teamed with our instructor, Wayne was writing our charts in high school. So he's a beast, right? And then, that's my thing. Like I said, I played in bands throughout the point. That's my pedigree. Okay, you go ahead, Wayne.
You want me to go after that, to follow that?
Man, Morris Day.
Wayne, I already know you got your brother's amazing, your late brother's an amazing drummer. Come on, man, you got to hope you DC. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in a manger. So I come from an interesting family. I'm the youngest of 5 in my mother's side. I gotta say that from my mother, because my pop was a Rolling Stone. It's some more of us over there. So I had to say, but it was this amazing household, man, that we all lived together. My grandmother lived with us. My great aunt and uncle, her sister and brother-in-law lived with us. We all lived in the same house. So you would hear Louis Armstrong, Mahalia Jackson, the Supremes, Nancy Wilson, Rare Earth, Jimi Hendrix, everything. And as the youngest, and then the Jackson 5. So in the youngest, you couldn't touch the stereo. You couldn't touch the radio. You couldn't touch TV.
That's
you
a fact.
Touch the stereo.
That's a fact, because I'm the youngest. But go ahead.
Right. So you were just forced to listen to all the music. And what people realize now, they've had all these studies, is that kids learn by seeing it and listening to it, right? And if it's constant, it was just a constant barrage. Like I knew who Chick Webb was before I knew who anybody who played in Motown, James Jamerson. Yes. And I knew who Hendrix and Buddy Miles, and I knew who, they were, and I knew who Les McCann and Cannonball Adderley was before I knew, math, geometry.
Amen.
Like all that is in that child's DNA, in that before 7, before 8, all of that. So my mom was a drummer. She got to college on a drum scholarship.
What?
Marching band.
Wow.
So that doesn't reflect when you like 7 or 8. You can't even imagine your mom play until you break those sticks, those last pair of sticks. And then it reflects in a butt whipping. You like, I thought they were Michael sticks. So your role models as a child are generally your brothers and not necessarily your father or your mom, but the people who are close to you in age, because you're around them all the time. And I was around my brother and sisters all the time. It was 9 years difference in our age. So he's playing drums. I want to play drums, right? Until I realized that at 13, he's 6'2" and 300 pounds. Then, and he's like, it's only one drummer in the house. And my sticks somehow magically break, and the heads of my little drums magically get hold of them. And so I can remember one of his friends was like, you ought to play guitar, because they had little bands. They were 13, 15. You ought to play guitar. You ought to pick up guitar. I was like, yeah, then you could play with us. Mm-hmm. And my whole thing was, oh my God, I could be one of the people.
What area did you grow up in, Bruce?
Petworth, Georgia Avenue.
Oh, okay. That whole area. I get it. Now it makes sense.
Right.
It all makes sense now.
Directly across the street from my house was a music conservatory. Goins Music Conservatory.
I know you're talking about.
So I'm in between Buchanan and Crittenden. Big conservatory across the street. And that's like, and I couldn't cross the street by myself, so I could only watch it. I could only watch going in and out. But I mean, I'm exposed to so much stuff by hanging around my brother, who was a drummer. I'm exposed to early Funkadelic, Tiki Fullwood. I'm just exposed. So when I moved to Suitland, Mom, like, I'm getting remarried, we're getting out of here, and you the youngest. You everybody else is like, we staying, right? We stay here, Georgia Avenue. She like, yeah, you don't have that choice. So we moved to Maryland, and it just seemed, by then I'm playing guitar. So by then I have a handle on guitar, and they really encouraged it at Suitland Junior, Suitland Senior. And I mean, 3 of my friends, like, it seemed like all of my friends became professional musicians or thugs, professional thugs.
Or both.
We were the roughest school in the county, bro. I mean, we shot at the principal. True story. No, and so, I mean, we go through that, and I think I'm going to LA. But I remember my high school instructor, and I was the youngest of my friends. And my high school instructor, because I had a grasp of theory and had taken lessons, so I had a grasp of theory, and kind of far beyond my years, and I always hung with older people. He let me direct the student band as a 10th grade. Now I'm in with seniors who are getting ready to get on full rides to Howard.
Wow.
And they are serious. They're writing charts, and I came in with this, and 4 of them went to Howard on scholarship and are music professors. One of my best friend has toured with Boney James for the past 30 years.
Wow.
30 years. The Isleys, Dwayne Smitty Smith. And I mean, it's just a lot of music around me at that time. So it just seems like it followed me. Unfortunately, I'm half F up, half genius, and half or another third. I'm part F up, part genius, part musician, and they leave before I leave school. They graduate, go in the Air Force, do all kinds of wonderful things, and I'm stuck there. So I think I should be gone too. So I promptly leave school to do what?
Good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea for a kid.
Wow.
And I tell people I'm a high school graduate and I'm a high school dropout and college graduate. So that's how that shit works. Wow. And I promptly take off from my instrument for 8 years.
Wow.
What instrument was that? What instrument was that?
Guitar.
What instrument was okay.
Guitar. So we had a stage band that went into competition at Suitland, finished first in the nation. The stage and the jazz band finished first in the nation because we had all these like killers, like a room full of killers. And I can remember the comments. Our teacher, Mr. Vaughan, incredible person, was a strict disciplinarian and would punch you in your chest. Like, this is old school. This is old school teaching. Like, you got out of line, he was like, hey, young man, we don't do that. You couldn't wear your hat. So if you didn't comb your hair that day, bruh, everybody knew you didn't comb your hair that day.
Right.
Like, because you couldn't wear a hat in this class.
Right.
And so all those things go into building this whole thing I have of excellence and perfection. You know, you got to have a real backbone in your music lineage. You have, and to really be accomplished in music and to make a living out of it, you got to have discipline. You got to believe in excellence, because you won't last long if you don't have that discipline. And if you're not good, if you like, okay, I'm good now, you just won't have it. So it's one of those things where those lessons in high school really were formative years, and the lessons of coming back to try to play that instrument again after 8 years and struggling and basically researching for a year. I can remember guys in DC thought I was just like a drunk at a bar. They were like, man, you at the bar every night, boy. You at the bar. And in my head, I'm at the tail end of my college career. I spent too long there. I had too much fun. 6 years in Maryland. And at the tail end of that thing, I'm figuring I need to go back into playing. But you cannot go back into playing. I remember my guy coming back from the Air Force and saying, come on down and play with Larry Seals. And Larry Seals was the big act in DC at the Saloon. That was like the jazz hangout. Michael Bearden, keyboard player for the Stars, Madonna,
everybody.
Whitney, and Michael Jackson. If you look at Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he's a guy out there playing. Great guy, because he went to Howard as well.
Right. He went to Howard. Mike Bearden is playing keyboards in that band that I'm getting ready to tell you what happened.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most accomplished keyboard players that ever hang out around here. So
right, him and Wayne Lindsay, those two who moved to LA. So he's in this band. Larry Seals is incredible. Him and his brother Richard is a drummer, and they are incredible players at that time. And Dwayne is playing bass for him, and he's like, "Can my guy sit in?" And I was like, "I just got my guitar back and bought an amp, and I'm figuring I'm good in my head."
Oh, and Lord, no!
Oh man,
don't do it, Wayne! No,
no. Sit-in thing, and I go call. I studied like 3 songs. Right, I'm going to play these songs.
I got it.
And it's literally exactly like Bird. If you saw the movie Bird, where they laugh at him on stage and throw a cymbal at him to make him stop, it's almost like that. It's really close. It's like I say, hey, let's play this. I get on stage and call a song. Huh? What band leader? That's not even stage etiquette. I have none of that. And he's like, you don't call a song on my stage.
Oh my God, Wayne!
That's the first thing. That's the first, Mark. That's the first thing. You don't call a song. And so I'm like, whoa. So he calls like one of the most difficult songs in jazz. He calls Rhythm Changes. And Rhythm Changes is a separator song on stage. Like, you can either play or you cannot play. Right?
That's it.
You can either no changes or you don't know changes, bruh. And promptly, it was a laugh off stage time. It was a laugh off stage.
But Wayne,
and it stuck with me. And for the next year, I studied, went to clubs every night, and grinded, and was determined that I will not lose. So when you piss me off, I'm Sagittarius.
Put you back against the corner.
Yeah, and then put me in the shed. The proverbial shed is, and I can explain to people, we call the shed when you get an axe, you go in the shed to sharpen the tool.
Oh my
right?
God.
so you could come out and cut wood. So that's what happens when people say they're shedding. They're actually going to study their instruments so they can get better, so they can come out and get better.
I can't believe you called out a song, Wayne. Talk about read the room.
Hey, let's do this.
Hey,
read the room, Wayne. What the hell?
I'm walking in as a wide
where
receiver. Okay, we're gonna run this play for me.
Were you raised by wolves? I mean, what the hell?
Man, I didn't have any clue.
The old players, they was like, what?
Any clue? And that, you know, there are moments in your life that drive you, that are moments that are outlier moments, right? There are moments that change your life on a dime. And I could point to what that moment is changing my life on a dime. And it had to happen. You know,
Wayne, look, I'm cutting you off. Because Bootsy, we're cutting yours short. Come on, Bootsy, because I do have some stuff I want to play for you guys.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm gonna be short. I'm just gonna give you my little spiel or whatever. First of all, before I say
again, those who just tuning in, this is kind of we're all going in on music. Right now we're talking about
going in on music. We're talking about background.
We're talking about background now, but we're going to go on music. And again, it's kind of a nerdy. We're going to be talking about stuff that you might not care about, but we're going to have some fun doing it.
I'm going to be quick with mine. I'm going to give you a small story. So I was raised in a house I have 5 sisters and 3 brothers. We were all raised in the same house. My mother was a choir director and a music teacher. My father was in the military. He played an instrument. My mother loved gospel. And she loved gospel like Mahalia Jackson, James Cleveland. I mean, literally, I had every one of those. And then my father listened to big band, Count Basie, Swing. They would even initial their records. So they had the initials. Like, don't touch these records. Don't really touch those records. So one thing happened to me. My mother was like, "Hey, I think you'd be great at this. You're gonna you're gonna be in your aunt's choir." So I ended up starting being in the choir. That kicked it. But the person who really probably had the most influential meaning on me, may God rest this man's soul, is Chucky Thompson. Chucky Thompson is from my neighborhood. He was born and raised in my neighborhood. And as a kid, his family and my family went to the same church. And I would walk past his house and see him playing a trombone one day. The next day I'll see him playing the guitar. And I was just enamored that this person I could just look in my neighborhood and see him playing instruments. From there, my elementary school had a marching band, my junior high school had a marching band, and my high school had a marching band, and then go-go came. So what happened was I started hanging around Chucky Thompson as a kid, just, observing him, and that just made me venture out. Lo and behold, I met this amazing man named Ignatius Mason. For people who live in the DMV, Ignatius Mason is my real musical mentor. Ignatius Mason has probably mentored 100 students. I mean thousands. He's also the #1 producer. He's probably the #1 rental guy, and he's probably the #1 guy who was just mentored. He mentored. I met Raheem Devon in there when he was beginning, so he would have all of us in there. His son had a go-go band. I played in this band called OP Tribe, and Ignatius was telling me, "Hey man, you got gifts. You should venture out more." So I always wanted to do radio, and then I always wanted to do music, and I kind of like combined go-go music and just the arts or whatever. From that point, I end up sneaking. I tell everybody this story. I had in my mind that I was going to work for Earth, Wind & Fire. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I was telling everybody one day he's going to be my father. And literally, I would tell people this. I was like telling people this. I went to the Whoop Trap. And there was, what happened was these people from HBO was following go-go people to do a documentary. So they was following Big Chief from the Backyard Band. They was following Chuck Brown. They was following Little Benny, and they followed me. So they got me access because I was telling them, "Hey, I want to go to see Earth, Wind & Fire and just tell you who's my inspiration is." We snuck backstage at the Whoop Trap, really snuck, act like we belong there. I met the road manager, Jabari McDavid, and then from there, we ended up becoming cool. I got hired by Earth, Wind & Fire. They moved me to LA to work. I ended up working, when I first got there, my first job for Kalimba Records, I was the assistant media contact person, and I handled all the merchandise at the venue. So I was like the promotions guy. I would go to record stores, and they had that CD called The Promise. And then from there, I just met all these people. But I am a reflection of a bunch of people learning a bunch of music, and that's pretty much my story.
Wow, that's incredible, bro.
And I love that with that laws of attraction. I think we have all lived long enough where,
you become your thoughts.
Right. And I think it's like, I think a lot of people our age don't really believe it, or they don't, because they haven't. I think we've stepped out on it. We've seen it work, not just once or twice. You know, again, like you said, I listened to St. Louis radio growing in Springfield. I hooked my cable to the radio, the cable to hear St. Louis. 5 years after I graduated from college, I worked at that radio station.
Wow.
You know, and so these things, and like you said, Bootsy, you know, you wanted to work with it, you didn't know how it was going to happen. Don't let not knowing how you're going to do it, man. And, you know, but you got to grind, you got to work hard. And so
two things I'll say, and I'm going to let you jump back in. I do think it's who you have around you that is going to carry you. One of the greatest things that I did was I ended up going to this program called the Marion Youth Leadership Institute when I was a kid. If you're from the DMV, you know about this program. When I got it was one called HAP, and it was the Marion Youth Leadership Institute. When I got there, everybody there was trying to do something. They wanted to go to college. They all kind of had plans. My only dreams when I was young, I swear to God, this is the only dream I had. I wanted to know Donnie Simpson and be on this show. I wanted to be like Chuck Brown, to be a lead talking the go-go band. And I wanted Maurice White to be my father. And I literally accomplished all three of those things. At one point, I had them all in my phone. I could call them at any time I want. And I just think who you hang around and understanding that no matter what your circumstances are, you can do it. But find good people to hang around when you're young, because that's important.
And you know what? Bootsy gets the most random list you'll ever find. That only proves that it's true. It's true. There were no connections there at all.
Yeah, you know that the whole Chuck Brown thing is for me has, you know, always admired him. Never knew him back when I was coming up, and I was like, man, I'm playing. By the time I started my band, we were playing instrumental and jazz. But Louis Oxley was like my big brother, right?
Oh, Dr. Louis Oxley. Oh my God.
He and my big brother were friends when I was a little boy. And he was amazed that I had turned into this guitarist. Like, he was like, my God, I knew you as a child. Like, and then, but I still had no connection with Chuck other than, hey, and then I never knew Chuck had come to see Spur of the Moment, my band in the background, as you see. But I never knew that. And just vicarious, he was, every time he saw me, hey, young man, how you doing on that guitar?
That's exactly how he was.
Hey, young man. And I didn't know he knew my name, right? Just, hey, young man, because he called, hey, young man, how you doing on that thing? Hey, young man, this. Hey, young man, this. And the evolution to become his friend is amazing. I mean, we served on the Grammy board together, DC Recording Academy. And I can remember his first meeting. No lie, I'm sitting there, we all introducing ourselves, saying what we do, and we come around to Chuck, and everybody is waiting with bated breath of what he's going to say. And what he says is this. He said, I love everybody. First thing he said, I just want to let y'all know I love everybody.
That's how he was.
I love everybody. Second thing he says, have y'all heard that young man play guitar?
Oh, Lord.
That's exactly how he was.
And
100%.
You could have.
That's how he was.
You could have brought me for a nickel. He said, if you do nothing else, go hear that young man play guitar.
Come on, Wayne.
Hold on. That's how he was.
Literally.
100%.
Literally.
That's how he was.
Literally. Second thing out of his mouth. And I thought to myself, huh? Like, I come hear you. And the final crown, jewel in the crown is they allowed me to music direct his homegoing service.
Okay.
Which was incredible. Now, hold on. Let me give you my. Now I didn't
got
know
me
this
tearing up, Wayne. Thanks, Wayne. I didn't bring my napkin today.
That's crazy. Now, hold on. Now, let me tell you my end of Chuck Brown story. The last interview he ever did was with me at the Blend Show on Go-Go Radio. He could not walk. Tom had to help him up the steps. He had to take a breath. He was preparing to play at the Capitol. I don't know if you remember when he played at the Capitol. He said, I'm only doing it because it's you. And then he told me this. He said, look here, man, let me just say this to you. And he said, I'm going to just tell you 100%. He said, no matter what you do, Don't never give up radio. DC needs you. DC needs your voice. You're really good at this. Don't let nobody talk you out of doing broadcast journalism. And then he said, oh, one more thing. You need to go make some Boosie Vegas go-go songs. Some real, he was telling me, the funny stuff that you're doing with Donnie, go do that because you're going to connect with people. But he was like, no matter what, if you don't never see me again, don't ever give up doing this. That was my the last interview he ever did. I still have it. The last interview he ever did, I did with him. I have it.
This is now, you guys have both been on already, but this thing, I'm changing the name, guys, to the Marc Clarke Show, though, not the morning show. I'm getting rid of that for other reasons. I'll tell you that later on. But this thing right here, these kind of moments be happening out of nowhere, right? It's crazy. So I'm going to say, okay, I get it, God. I get it, ancestors. Let's keep this thing going because we weren't even planning on that. What's up, Rondi? And so now we're hopping in 40 minutes in. Now we're going in. We're going into the music part with you guys. Enough about us. What's going on? Oh, wait a minute. Shout out. I see you, Coach Roz, locked in. Coach, this
I love you, Coach Roz. I love you, Coach Roz.
I don't know you get your Coach Roz, but I'm down with you. I'm down with Boogie and Mark.
Working it out. Day 2. It's all going well. And I'm telling you, this Veguary vegan challenge, Allison was hurting yesterday, and she was raised vegetarian. But yeah, awesome. And again, Coach, we need to get you on. Let's get you on. Let's get you and Doc on, or Doc on tomorrow, okay? But so we're gonna hop into the music now. I called Wayne the other day. I call Wayne all the time, and I was listening to some Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan.
Oh wow!
And I called Wayne to be like, Wayne, again, I already know the answer, kinda. But I was asking Wayne, is Stevie Ray, would you say he's Elvis? Is it, and what I mean by that, basically a knockoff. Mm-hmm. And Wayne, for a short answer, was not really. He brought something to the game. He acknowledged the greats. He basically copied or whatever we all did. See, again, we're from a generation where that was the first step. You had somebody, you got your axe. Then you had somebody that you admired. Then you probably played like them first, and then you developed your own style. For me, it was always David Sanborn. Well, let's keep it real. The funny part is it's really Hank Crawford and my man for the Crusaders, but that's actually David Sanborn basically bit from Hank Crawford. See what I'm saying? So, but it's that sound that I like. But anyway, this first piece here, this first piece I'm gonna play for y'all, it's probably illegal on YouTube, but I had to go here because we're gonna hop it off. We're gonna talk about race, music, where it started from, original. So we're gonna start right here with the gospel, right? Now the gospel piece, the soul stirs. Now, going up in Springfield, one of my favorite, how you go to church, is that favorite person you love to hear sing? Right. Mine was Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington sounded like Sam Cooke, right? Absolutely. But if you love Sam Cooke in the Soul Stirrers, there were gospel greats that Sam Cooke got his sound from, but he added his own twist, right? Ooh, and so I'm playing this clip because this clip, when you see my man in this clip, R.H. Harris, what you're going to see is in a snapshot, you watching him, but you're seeing Sam Cooke, you're seeing Bobby Womack, you're seeing, all the Temptations. You're seeing like a whole lineage of all of those singers when you see not only him, but the group he's singing with. So I wanted to just start it there just to start the conversation, because this one, and then the last part of it, I believe he was in his 70s, still tearing down joints. I'm talking about tearing stuff down, right? So here we go. Without any further ado, y'all, check this out.
Sam's particular hero was legendary gospel singer R.H. Harris, one of gospel music's most innovative vocalists.
I remember the day, I remember it well. Yes, yes, Lord, this old world of sin, I no longer stand. I asked my mother, how can said you must be, don't you see? Oh, Lord.
What? Wayne, what did you see when you saw my man?
Man, that's the whole lineage of soul music and R&B music right there. I mean, R.H. Harris, I mean, one, the voice is incredible. As a young man, it's really, I mean, he has tricks as a young man that he has to use as an older man, right? Like you learn certain spots in your voice, but just to go from his chest to that head voice to just the grit and the feel holler, you know what I'm saying? That's you know, in our DNA. That's passed down from the African to the enslaved African to the you know, just released Reconstruction African. I mean, it's the history of music in that guy's voice.
You know,
literally.
So it really is. And so what the thing that I, you know, now that I think, you know, we lived long enough to now understand. This is I called you about Stevie Ray Vaughan. You start to understand what's kind of happened. So in the UK, unlike in America, at least in other countries, they teach history. So you take somebody from England, they know the history of the black man in the world because they teach it. In America, they don't. They don't, right? And so when you see, you can imagine you're a white person from another, and you see that. You see Jimi Hendrix. You see these. You see
Little Richard.
Smokestack. You see Smokestack. You see Howlin' Wolf.
You see Howlin' Wolf. You
see this powerful, otherworldly. It's like it's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And they celebrated the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. They
celebrated
it once they steal it. America, because America does not, and because it's white supremacy and control, they never wanted to give the credit to black folks. So it's an interesting game because it's almost like you can't suppress it. You can't
as much as you try, dismiss it,
snuff it out. But
dismiss it.
What they do is they control it and they hand it out now piece by piece. So like you said, Wayne. Now, yeah, everybody steals it, but
right.
At least the Rolling Stones added a Howlin' Wolf onto, Howlin' Wolf in his damn 60s. America gets to see him on these Ed Sullivan show as a 50-something-year-old man. Still though, a beast. Still like, oh my God, because the Rolling Stones say you could, now
and they tell you where they got their name from. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got our name, buddy.
And And as far as the Rolling Stones, they were on chess for 2 years already in America, doing stuff before you even knew. There were records that were put out that they had recorded that basically that was their training ground when they got here, was at chess.
Right.
So
And
they've been
and so that's when I say I wanted to talk about the music piece, because you just really understand it. And like you said, these he's in his whatever, how old he is, the blues guys and all these musicians who basically, and that is the thing, talk about stealing, Wayne. And let's look at gospel. You could basically steal from the black gospel world and nobody would even know. A lot of black folks don't know who R.H. Harris is. Right. A lot of black folks don't know that it was, like you said, the lineage of, even in one group, it was Sam Cooke.
In the one group.
Sam Cooke in for R.H. Harris, and then Bobby Womack, and then James Taylor. Or whatever, it's like, and that was one group. So you can imagine all these different groups out there, and you can just, and that's the thing, that's the black musician in America. You could just go see Otis Redding. You can go see somebody and just take their whole shtick if you're white and make millions of it and never pay nobody. Again, the Elvis Presley thing that's so funny is we have arguments about Elvis Presley. Can he sing? Can he dance? But the funniest thing that I saw on YouTube, I didn't put this one up, but I can't think of the guy who wrote these songs and sang it just like Elvis's voice is his voice. That whole thing, it's the dude, it's the guy. I can't think, it's a black guy. He was on David Letterman. He had him on the show years later. He wrote it. He said Elvis just lifted his same vocals, and it's nothing new. It's nothing new, and that's why with the kids. Oh my God! Now they're using tracks from like the 90s already. But that's why when you have the conversation with the kids, and they say, "Oh, so and so, da da da," and you just be like, "Now I understand how our parents felt when they kind of rolled their eyes when we said the same thing, because they know the authentic thing, they know the original thing." And I think because of it, I think I think black folks a lot of times we do a disservice to ourselves because we don't honor greatness because we're around so much greatness. There's Aretha Franklin like in every church in every city. So when we hear somebody that's great, we'll be like, yeah. And so therefore, as our artists almost suffer because it's almost like, again, people say, why does Adele da da da? Well, because when a white person does it, y'all act like it's and not just the general market, but black people, we do the same thing. And so it's kind of like, I remember, and I had to laugh at myself because I think I told it to you, Wayne. I was talking about how sometimes black people don't give people credit. Like this one in St. Louis, this one lady, Tina Marie comes up and she goes, "Oh, Tina Marie can't sing." Now, okay, come on now. Tina Marie can sing. But now, though, I'm looking at it through a different lens, and I understand you're not saying Tina Marie can't sing.
Right.
You're saying there's a ton of people who can sing as good as Tina Marie who never even get noticed. In fact, she's in the house right now. I mean, and I think, but it creates a weird dynamic. So Wayne, what do we say? Like, it's weird. Like, we
just got to tell our story. We just got to make sure we tell our story. That was why.
Are we listening? Do we listen to the story though? Like, are we? What I'm saying?
No,
do people listen to the story? Or do we just go,
Nah, because I think we just witnessed the Janet Jackson story. I think people have, because of this documentary last week, we have a whole new perspective of her greatness, what she accomplished, what she dealt with, and she got to tell it. She got to tell her story. This is why these documentaries are really important, like the Rick James one, and because we need to tell our story. Because if not, we'll be having these discussions.
Well, the funny thing
about it's the old African proverb about until the lion is able to write his story, the hunter will always be the hero, right? And you're absolutely right, Boosie. But so they've told the narrative so many times.
Right.
You heard the narrative about Elvis so many times. You did not know who Otis Blackwell was.
There we go.
Right?
Thank you. Yeah.
There we go. I'm going. Mark, I'm going to go back to
or Sissy Houston, Whitney Houston's mother, who sung background with him and handled all the background vocals in the studio.
Yeah. So you don't know who these people are. You hear about Howlin' Wolf, and you hear but you don't research.
Muddy Waters,
They don't
Muddy
tell
Waters.
you who Howlin' Wolf is. So you left to go research these things. But it's on us to keep telling the stories, man.
Right.
To keep
Right.
they've had
Especially
a PR
now.
machine.
Right.
They had a PR machine since the beginning to
Right.
the whole 3/5 of man. That's a PR thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's somebody
That's a fact.
telling you that. That's
That's a
not
fact.
truth. It's not
That's a
based
fact.
on anything other than somebody saying, well,
Somebody else's
let's-
perception of it or the story
Right.
they want to tell.
So if
and
you bring that
especially
into music, and we got into the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing, at least Stevie Ray Vaughan tells you, hey, and you can see in his play, hey, this is Albert King and this is Jimi Hendrix, period.
But the only thing I give Stevie Ray Vaughan on that I think he does deserve this credit on is that, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but this is how I look at him. He has spawned a lot of people after him as well that learn. Like, we can be honest, John Mayer is a common copy of Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's literally, and like so many people have kind of like been spawned. I will give Stevie Ray Vaughan the credit is he sparked a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I get it. John
Okay.
Mayer is, in a sense, Stevie Ray Vaughan to a certain extent.
I know what
So
you mean.
then he breaks off into so John Mayer's a smart dude, right? College guy.
Right.
So
Right.
he made himself out to be this American folk hero dude. This dude is a college dude who locked himself away in a closet to play guitar. Like, bruh, this is the only way, and the only way to get better is to study the great.
Mhm.
Study black people. I'm studying jazz. I'm studying Hendrix.
Right.
Stevie Ray Vaughan was the spark, right? And then I'm
Mhm.
studying all these other places. And then you look at his guitarist, his second guitarist is a kid out of Chicago, Isaiah
David?
Starkey,
Oh yeah.
who
Isaiah
is the
Starkey.
real deal, bro.
Yes, he is.
Mm.
He's actually
Who-
going back on tour with him this month.
Who is the real
Yes,
deal.
he is. Yes,
So
he is.
you can look at John Mayer, but that second guitarist, who we know him from D'Angelo
Mhm.
fame, he was
Wow.
in the band with
Because-
Jeff Lee Johnson
Right,
and
because
Jesse Johnson after Jeff Lee died. So
because you know who his bass player is Pino Palladino as well.
right,
Both from D'Angelo.
right.
Wow.
So
And they're going on tour with John Mayer next week.
so understand that he's a studied dude. So he
Right.
studies.
Mm.
Let me go play with these cats. Let me go learn what I can, and he will regurgitate it. And he's an excellent guitarist. I mean, you can't get me to say John Mayer any bad things on guitar about John Mayer.
But it's the
but
excellence.
vocally, that's another discussion, all right?
Yeah.
Well, Stevie even sings in the songs of Stevie even sings in the songs giving credit though. He will give some credit to the song. But
Wayne, I love you, Wayne.
But even let's look at our music. They called Donny Hathaway to work with Stevie Wonder when his voice was changing.
Right.
That's little known stuff.
wow.
Right.
And Johnny Hathaway, right, he kind of felt bad because he didn't feel like he got the respect he deserved for being a brilliant singer.
Brilliant musician. So
Musician.
let's go here.
Exactly.
That singer thing,
Right.
it is, go listen to him play piano. Go listen to Donny Hathaway play piano.
you know what?
Play keyboard.
Let me hop in
the
real-
organ.
Let me say this, guys, before
And
I
organ.
forget it, because I'm 55. So the Kennedy Center honors producer Berry Gordy. That's the tease. Berry Gordy's 92. Hello, thank you. Number one. What the hell? Berry Gordy's far more than a producer, my friend. Kennedy Center tease for the show. And then when they did it, they did the same thing. Producer Berry,
Songwriter,
Mogul. Visionary.
He created,
visionary.
Wait a minute, right? And what Berry Gordy did was
Movie
really
producer.
create pop music.
Yes.
That's what he did. He took,
Black cinema.
because he knew
Come on, mahogany.
He understands how the general market looks at black folks.
Lady sings the blues.
He said, no, Supremes. No. Yeah, we know. I know she sings better than Diana Ross. But what I'm doing is I'm making a simplified, tame, easily digestible version of blackness, so the masses can digest it. Listen to me, y'all. I know. Be quiet,
Right.
Florence. Be quiet. Listen to me.
We know you can
These
sing.
songs will last forever. I know. Yeah. I know. You can sing like Aretha Franklin. I know.
Smokey, you're not ready yet. Smokey,
But you're a great writer. But you're a great writer, though.
I need you to go back. You're not ready yet.
Right. No, Marvin. We ain't doing no
and then when
conscious
Smokey
record.
is ready, that means I got to sit down.
Hey guys,
'Cause remember, I'm a staff writer too.
Right.
I have to bow out. It is always a pleasure. I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. I have an emergency meeting at 11 o'clock, a budget meeting. They want to get the children some money.
Oh,
so I love this discussion.
Get the money.
I love this discussion. I love you guys. Wayne, talk to you soon, my brother.
All right, brother. Peace and blessings.
And so Wayne, as we talk about, what I'm on now, Wayne, is what hit me about rap, right? This hit me. This got me. Wayne, is it the age? You're a little older than me. Is it the age
Why
that'll
you have to
make
say
you?
that?
You don't look at. Is it the age, Wayne, that'll make you? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Yeah. Well, so what we have here,
or is that you know too much? Is that
what we have
here?
Is you grow into knowing a whole lot, right? And then you get jaded because you know how the world is. So you know excellence, right? And then you compare that excellence with everything else. Right. And you don't understand that at every point in this journey there is excellence, but for that point.
Right.
Okay.
And then
so hear me out. What you're hearing in music is a result of what happened 30 to 40 years ago. 30 years ago, it is taking actual music out of elementary and high schools and giving them computers without giving them background and knowledge.
Yeah.
And so they shaped and formed what they could, right? And then when you take more music out, so the music gets simpler and it's just now beats, and it just gets simpler and less musical, and this is what you have. But it's excellence in this also.
Wayne, now let me hop on here, because this one hit me. And I'm like, okay. And these are conversations that we don't really have. You can't have them on. You never have enough time to really have them. I think, and black folks ain't really ready. I don't know if it's because we're too busy. I don't know. I think maybe sometimes the checks are coming too fast. So what hit me, Wayne?
Mm-hmm.
This one was interesting.
What's that?
So Jay-Z, Jay-Z gets elected to the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which that whole thing is crazy because there's people that's crazy. But so Jay-Z's honoring his mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jay-Z's mom, who he found out she was gay, which is no problem. That's not what I'm focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm focusing on, Wayne, I'm starting to sound like Bill Cosby. What hit me, Wayne, was the narrative. A long time ago, Chuck D said hip hop is the CNN of the black community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we bought it because it was Chuck D. Right. But what hit me, Wayne, it was so funny. I already had the thought, but then when I just thought about Jay-Z, I was like, wait a minute. And then Wayne we're coming from, follow me. So Jay-Z, the narrative is raised in Marcy Projects, right? Dad left. Dad was an addict. He left, had to fend, started slinging, family, feed the family, blah, blah, blah. But then, as Jay-Z was honoring his mother, and now there are articles about Jay-Z's mother. His mother's worked for New York City all these years. So yeah, they lived in Marcy Projects, which in New York, people live in projects but have jobs. You know what I mean? It's like, so in my mind, when you say projects, you think dirt poor, right? So Jay-Z's mom works for the city of New York, and Jay-Z's a drug dealer, and your mom knows that you're a drug dealer. Okay, let's stop. Hold on. Let's relook at this CNN of the streets, or CNN of black people. Let's look at what's really going on here, right? So some of the greatest hip hop writers, Ice Cube, Jay-Z, many of them, Kanye, they're not the poorest of the poor. They are working class, smart kids.
Hey.
And in our households, you could not be a drug dealer and your parent know about it, and that's okay. That's gonna get nipped in the bud. So really, this conversation about and people say, oh, now, even now, you people say I'm doing it for the culture. Rap it was culture when it first started. When you had the big sound systems and people mainly from Jamaica, and you're playing in the streets of New York, and that was the original. That's how it started. Neighborhoods, you can rap, I can rap, we battling each other, dancing, having fun. That's the culture. Then it got, sadly, it became something different. It's something different. You know, it got co-opted. Rap got co-opted because when you look at it, everything's about it's selling drugs, it's sex, selling drugs, and guns, right? And you ask yourself, well, why is it always about the same thing? Because rap music has a relationship with the prison industrial complex. That's why. And it's not about music anymore. It's about money, right? And so,
okay,
we have a musical conversation, but because then I just started thinking, Wayne, these people that we hold up, like you said, it's not reality. It's not their reality. It's almost like it's like if you're a poet, every poet writes about different things. The poets don't rap about this, talk about the same thing. But in rap, everybody talks about the same three things.
So let me interrupt you here. A couple of things. What we need to figure out, and this is more of an indictment on America than it is on those people, on Jay-Z.
Oh no, it's the system.
This is an indictment on America. So the
system,
indictment on America is how are we left that you are working for the city and living in a project? You have a job, and you are a single parent, and you have to live in a project and probably get food stamps in addition to your job.
Right. That's
right.
True.
And your son deals drugs so y'all can eat good and you cool with it. So that's more of an indictment. You can't blame Jay-Z. You can't blame his mama. Hear me out.
I'm only gonna say I will because I'm just gonna say because how I was raised.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm gonna say
that's cool.
I will because
you raised in Springfield, Missouri. That's a different
Illinois. But I think, Wayne, there was a time. Let's not go to New York. Let's go to Baltimore, right?
Dude,
there was
worse.
Or DC. No, but what I'm saying is, Big Mama, I don't give a damn if we got to eat rocks. Big Mama is not down with you slinging drugs.
Sir,
period.
You could not do drugs out of my grandmama.
Come on, you ain't gonna. That's what I'm saying. It was a character thing in our community.
That's a character.
And that's what I'm saying.
That.
So the America.
How about this? My dad, who doesn't live in the house anymore, is a drug dealer.
Yeah,
and is a hustler.
Yeah.
So I'm not far removed from that.
The far removed part is what Big Mama did. The far removed part is you ain't doing that.
It's the straight and narrow.
Exactly.
But hear me out on it.
Wayne, just
not that he came from middle class, because that ain't middle class.
No. I'm not even talking about middle class. No, I'm just saying. I'm saying if I'm honest, and I am judging, I'm looking at the character thing. It never occurred to me before. You know what I mean? Because what I'm saying is, because in rap, everybody's from the hood. When you say everybody, you think poor, but that's not necessarily the case. And so now we're talking, and actually when I listen to the music, that's one of my biggest beefs is that these program directors, where are the damn program directors to say, I ain't playing that song?
So people bought the narrative that gangster movies sell.
Yes.
And remember, rappers are basically producing movies on vinyl or disc at that time or tape, right? That because they're storytellers. It's the same thing.
But only if you let them tell these stories.
Okay. People got into a genre of storytelling. So Chuck D is into a genre of storytelling that is about uprising and about righteousness. You keep interrupting, Wayne. Mark, let Wayne get his message across. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. So look, so we get into these genres. Chuck D is telling stories about uprising, righteousness, and that sells because the beat is hot. You have the Bomb Squad, right?
Yeah, well, it did.
Well, hold on. But Ice Cube takes that same music, that same Bomb Squad, and tells LA tales about B's and H's in garden tools, right? B's and garden tools, right? Because you ain't going to get me to say that on air, on anybody's air. You're not going to get me to say them two words about nobody, right?
Right.
But B's and garden tools, right? But it's the same music. So we buy that music. But then you have the people who were in charge. Who was in charge of record companies? Well, no black people in charge of those rap record companies. I'm talking about the distributors, the Jimmy Iovines.
Yes.
The people.
Lear Cohen.
Yeah. Man, don't get me started.
Yes.
And that's why I have to give, because you look at, I have to give Dame Dash some credit. Okay, Jay-Z knew he couldn't move forward with a hothead who would cuss people out and stand on tables and throw people. You like, I'm not going to get anywhere far with that dude as my partner, right? At some point, you got to cut bait. You be like, yo, I told you not to stand on the table and kick my man in the chest, right? You can't do that in business. So at some point, he got to cut bait. And Dame is like, well, you sold out. No, I didn't sell out. I just want more. I understand. I want you didn't bring up his name, to bring up Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. Because Sean Combs is raised in private school, as well as Dame Dash.
Right.
They're private school, high school dudes. And then Sean Combs goes to a prestigious HBCU. First, you got to get accepted in Howard. Howard is not a community college, sir. Howard University is not a community college.
True.
It is where our current vice president, who was a little bit before him, attended that school. So, but Sean Combs is accepted in that school, but they figure out that gangster stories sell. And you just produce gangster stories. It's like sodas. Whoever figured out sodas sell, they produce sodas. And you could be mad at them to a certain extent, but you can't be mad at them because they figured out what sell. And they were in a situation that they wanted to better themselves. The narrative is America has really driven us to just become wanting to get money and famous, and it ain't about culture.
And so, right. And so we agree. So I guess what I'm saying though, Wayne, is here's the thing. Like you said, number one, it's not culture. Okay. This is about money. Okay. Jay-Z, Puffy, all. So they made a decision to get the money. Mm-hmm. But the big lie is it's the culture. So now rap music is the propaganda that sends our children to jail.
Ooh.
Rap music is the propaganda that sends our children to jail. These deals were cut, like you said, 30 years ago. Record companies are sharing stocks with the prison industrial complex. That's why they talk about the same three things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think, here's my theory this is what I came to, was New York birthed hip hop, the culture of hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, when after living in New York, and which you made a great point, you could be working for the city of New York and still be on food stamps. You know what I mean? It's a super expensive place. It's a dynamic. There are dynamics there that aren't like that anywhere else. What I think, I may be wrong here. I think, Wayne, so what happened was rap, Chuck D and people, rap was marketed as the culture, and little towns like Springfield and places in Montana and Peoria, they took it for the face value. They, in fact, created the world that is talked about on rap records all the time. And in many cases, it wasn't even their world. But having guns, being a drug dealer, and being a pimp, is that all? That's all you listen to all day. That's all you listen to every year.
Rap music didn't create that. It popularized it, but it didn't create that.
No.
They had dude. Springfield is in Illinois, which Chicago is.
No. It didn't create. No, it didn't create it.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, it didn't create it. But again, if that's all you're listening to, it perpetuates it. And it perpetuates it. And there was a time, like you say, let's talk about industries where, when as a program director, there was a time when somebody said, I'm not playing that record on my radio. That's why when we grew up, if you had Red Fox records, you had inappropriate content, that was played when the kids went to sleep, and the parents, it wasn't played on the radio.
No.
And so now when you listen to radio that's targeted to kids 12 to 18, that's the most vulgar music you're going to hear. You listen to the stations that are targeted for people 25 plus, it's nothing vulgar. How does that happen? What's going on? That doesn't even make sense. It would seem like the grown-up stuff would be on the grown-up radio station. Why are we targeting our kids and ain't nobody saying nothing? Ain't nobody saying nothing. When I was on the radio in Baltimore, I remember, and back then they used to day party. At nighttime they played it. Now they play it all the time. I just remember having to ask myself the question, can I be a Christian and play this crap? But again, that was back when we weren't even playing it 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And so all I'm saying, Wayne, is like you said, not only has the music, it's not music anymore. It's not even about music anymore. It's not even about music anymore.
Has the music industry ever been really about music?
It's all about money. You're right.
It's all about money.
It's all about money.
They didn't play Little Richard because they liked it. They didn't play that because they liked it. They played it because kids would listen and they could sell soap. Right? They played it because now when it switched over to white people, right? It was like, oh my God, they listened to Little Richard. Let's sell some more soap. That's how soap operas came. Soap operas became not because they were sponsored by it, they wanted to sell soap. And so they told these stories. The music industry has always been that way anyway. So they told these stories. We need to sell records so we can sell something else. It's always been that, man.
So that's why, don't tell me it's culture, rappers. Don't tell me
developed a culture.
Don't tell me the gold chain, the diamonds. Don't tell me all this stuff I see on Instagram. I saw DJ Khaled. He just posted, his whatever.
You watch,
right? And you're like, the part that's so funny to me is that, okay, you're telling me you're rich, and then you're telling me the first person to have something. Okay, But again, isn't that how it's supposed to work? I mean, why would that be impressive to me? You're rich. It'd be like Donald Trump saying, I got planes. I'm rich, bitch. Yeah.
Well,
you got planes. You're rich. I'm not rich. So what is going on here?
it's just like everything else. College, what these social media outlets have allowed people to do, become their own marketers, right? Their own best marketers.
Well, that's true.
and marketing to kids. So Coach doesn't develop a bag and sell it for $15,000 to sell it to rich people. They don't. They develop the bag, price it for $5, sell it for $15,000 to people who want to look like they're rich.
Facts.
It is he is marketing his self. If Khaled can do that, I need to listen to Khaled's music because he got new teeth, he got new watch. You know, he is Middle Eastern. I hate to say that, you know, North African, and he's high. He in the culture. He got a closet full of. He got a whole room full of Air Force Ones and Jordans. Right? It's all marketing.
Right. That's so. Oh my God, you're right. You're right.
Louis Vuitton gave him those shoes.
In honor of the death,
so they can market those shoes.
In honor of Virgil's death.
In honor of Virgil's death, let's capitalize on Virgil's death. Never look a opportunity, gift opportunity in the mouth and turn away. Hey man, look, they capitalize on Hendrix's death now. There are whole companies that market dead people to sell their music.
Oh yeah,
for the companies that still own the catalog.
Yeah,
it is music business for a reason.
Well, I guess
it should be business music.
There's some people that say that the Michael Jackson handlers were like, "Get him out of here, let's get some money." And so Joan just said, my son just said this Sunday, you have to go back to the 60s and 70s, hear good music, and he's in his 40s. The funny part about it, Wayne, is, oh my God, our parents used to say this. But now I get it, Wayne. Oh my God, it's so true. Like what you know, when you hear real instrumentation, it's like, you know, it's funny because that's what Silk Sonic and Bruno Mars, that's what they're really doing, is just really giving you. But it's like there was a moment, you get it now. There was a moment, like, you know, let's look at Earth, Wind, and Fire. When we talk about excellence, so you got lyrics that speak to your soul. You got arrangements and instruments that make you feel a certain way, and they're authentic. Like you said, it was like, wow, imagine that. You know, imagine that, Wayne. You go in a studio. We remember those days when they put a microphone in front of your instrument, other than guitars and stuff, and they mic'd you and mic'd up the drums and you, little did we know that would be a thing of the past. I had to laugh. My first girlfriend, I was in Huntsville, and as a guy who grew up playing in bands, and the only time I ever recorded anything was in college. One time I went to a recording studio and I did a recording session with my friend who spent all his money. And so when I remember, I'm 20 something years old in Huntsville, first girlfriend. Her brother, who was not a musician, who was into rap, he played me Public Enemies. It takes a nation of
millions to hold us back.
I didn't know what was going on. I mean, like I said, the Bomb Squad, I didn't get it. I knew it was great. I don't understand this. And then he played me some songs he produced at home. Wayne, this sounded better than my sax solo that it took me 5 takes to record in the studio. He did it at home, and he's not even a musician. So this is in Huntsville, Alabama. His boy is getting looked at to get signed because his boy's boy just got signed. Who was it? It was his boy was 17-year-old Brian McKnight.
Woo! Right.
It was like,
because he was in school.
He was in Oakwood.
He was in Oakwood.
And it
Okay.
was like, I was like, man, cats, because here I am, like a musician. I'm like, man, you guys did this in the basement? And so that little did I know, Wayne, it was the beginning of the end.
So
I mean, he wasn't a musician, he made beats. That's what it was.
right. So
I was like, huh? Make beats? You play the drums? No.
It's countless stories. I look at, if we talk about excellence, we generally talk about bands, we go to Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Like that's synonymous with excellence, right? But remember, there are two Earth, Wind, and Fires. People don't want to talk about this. There's the Charles Stepney Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? That ends with what's the name? Spirit album.
Oh.
Right? And then it's the David Foster Boogie Wonderland Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's
right.
Right.
And After the Love Is Gone.
Right.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
And you listen to them, and the same semblance is Maurice carrying that thing over.
Yeah.
Right? Maurice carries that band through its generations. And those three singers, Maurice, Philip, and whoever else is singing with them. I mean, because we go from Jessica Cleaves singing the high part. Don't play. I'll give y'all a history lesson here. Jessica Cleaves, in the first iteration around 71, she sings the high stuff to Philip Bailey, to Maurice White being the predominant voice, but Maurice White is the predominant voice. Then they developed this sound, right? And then you could copy the sound, right? You can get other producers, but they're two distinct Earth, Wind, and Fires. Both of them are excellent, right?
Right.
And so you gotta. Maurice White gets that credit for that because he's the link between both sounds.
And an amazing producer, right? He probably didn't.
Amazing producer.
Was that Stax?
I mean, at Chess Records, the drummer. He's the drummer he's the drummer for Ramsey Lewis on Ramsey Lewis' incredible In Crowd record.
Wow,
like that was the record in the '60s that is the foreshadower. It's the foreshadower of contemporary jazz.
Wow. Wow.
In Crowd. Just piano and people clapping in the back. Dun, 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 dun. Ramsey doing this thing. That's Maurice White on drums.
So Wayne, we'll wrap things up because we'll go on forever. So Wayne, I don't think, do people, just like the Kennedy Center just, honored Barry as a producer at 92. It waited to 92.
Is he 92?
Anyway, yeah.
He's 92 years old.
Yeah, he's 92. So Wayne, do we really understand when you say Quincy Jones? Do people really understand who Quincy Jones is? And that's what I'm talking. It's almost like we talk about excellence or Black excellence. It's almost like godly, but it's right. It's recognized. It is. I mean, it is, but it isn't, right? People really don't. And so as we wrap this up, man, give us. I mean, just tell us who Quincy Jones is.
Quincy Jones is probably the greatest American producer of music and producer and writer. Is one of the greatest American producers and writers of music. A person who played the instrument, who grew up dirt. You can't even say dirt poor because it's below dirt poor and gangsters, and goes on to study all over the world. Come back and work for the #1 singer in America at that time, who was part gangster, Frank Sinatra, right? And you think he's a jazz musician, and Frank is singing jazz. But when Quincy says, I want to do something, he says, and they say, well, you play jazz. He said, I can do anything. And he has the #1 pop record with It's My Party. And I cry. He can make any kind of music. And then you hear this Gullah Materi record that is swimming in jazz. And then he goes on to do The Dude, which is R&B and all these R&B things out of jazz. And then you go cut on your TV, and your favorite TV show, Sanford and Son, has the best intro music in the world. Or you look at back in the day, what was it, Mannix or something. Is the best music in the world.
Sanford and Son.
And then you go to he takes the greatest child singer. He takes the greatest child singer and Michael Jackson and makes him a man in one record, and then makes him a man in one record, and then makes him the greatest artist, dance artist, or R&B, the king of R&B, king of pop. Well, he was king of pop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes him the king of pop in the second record. Quincy Jones is probably one of the greatest American gifts we've ever produced. Greatest gifts as a culture we've ever produced in this country.
Man.
And he should be recognized, and hopefully he'll be recognized like the classical greats, or like Bernstein, or
right,
American Leonard Bernstein. But that's Quincy Jones, man. Quincy Jones is one of the greatest Americans who is black.
Mm-hmm.
Though he, he like to dip in milk a lot. We ain't gonna talk about that. But and look, I'm happy to have met him several times, and I'm happy to have his goddaughter. I'm her music director a lot of times.
Oh, I love it.
Who Patty Austin.
Patty Austin.
And she has stories. Mark, we got to get her on. You got to get her on.
Do it.
Show.
Wayne's World, baby.
She now lives in Panama.
Really?
She lives in Panama in a fabulous penthouse apartment, man. It's amazing. She's an amazing person.
So Wayne, okay, let's do it. And I would love to have you on with Patty and Will, because I know.
Oh, dude, let's do it. Look,
all right.
I'll talk to Will later today. I'll text Patty. He's in town. That's why I'll talk to him. He's in town. Mm-hmm. And let's get him on, man. Let's get him on. And we can continue this talk, man. What you do here is fabulous, Mark. And don't stop, whether it's the morning show, whether it's the Marc Clarke show,
right?
What it is. And everybody tell a friend or four. Go tell 4 friends about what Mark is doing in this space, because he is you have an excellent show, brother. And I always encourage you. And I know one of my great mentors and great friends, who was your father-in-law, looks down on you and is right over your shoulder, bro.
Man,
so we ain't gonna make you cry. Get out of that.
No, look, man, Verly passed away, right? Wow. Remember Verly?
Yeah.
And so we went to her funeral. Man, when her daughter read the Dad, I forget, one of Dad's things, you could just feel them all in the room, man. You could just feel, and it was perfect because she just read. That's the only thing she read. It's the daughter. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those. I looked at Alice and I said, man, and that's the thing, man. When you talk about spur of the moment, when you talk about our legacies and stuff, we've lived long enough where we've dealt with this, and George Duke, I talked to you right after his passing. These people, man, you feel them all around you, like in these moments, right? And so I wanted to talk about this music thing because, again, it's such a part of our lives, right? And that is the beauty of music. It lives on. If it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, if it's Prince, it's like, if it's Wayne, you know those licks, man. I'm gonna be, I don't care, if you're here or not, Wayne, I will always see you at Silver Shadows. Getting ready to.
People don't have no clue.
Whip the band into motion. But we'll talk about that next time. Yeah. Wayne, thank you. Hug your lovely wife, and we will see you next time, brother.
All right, brother.
Thanks Wayne's World, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne Bruce, the Wayne Bruce, ladies and gentlemen.